Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hi friends, we are back today with our wonderful book Living Spring. And if we think about Living Spring, Emmanuel has explained so beautifully to us what Living Spring means. And if we are going to listen to today's message, we will understand why this chapter is in Living Spring. We are at chapter 20, Differences. You believe there is only one God. You do well. The demons also believe and tremble. And it's in James 2, verse 19. The Apostle's warning is of essential importance in the area of spiritual counsel. Expecting benefits from heaven is an attitude common to all of us. Worshipping the Lord can be the endeavor of both the just and the unjust. Believing in the existence of the divine government is a prevailing characteristic of all people. Believing in the supreme power is proper to good and bad persons alike. James was divinely inspired in this verse because his words define the difference between merely believing in God and in carrying out his sublime will. Intelligence is an attribute of everyone. Knowledge comes from experience. Knowledge comes from experience. Human beings are always evolving, and those who evolve learn and know. The difference between good spirits and bad ones lies in the way they use their knowledge. Demons, symbols of weakness, satisfy their own desires, which are often insane and dark. Angels identify with the designs of the Eternal One and comply with them wherever they may be. Therefore, remember that when it comes to the issue of your personal happiness, your religious affliction will not be enough by itself. Worshipping God and hoping and believing in Him are characteristics of all people. The only sign that can reveal your noble condition will be the way you live your life as you fulfill His design. Because actually, simply believing in the good that comes from the Lord will not do much for your spiritual growth. It takes due diligence in practicing the good today, here and now, in His name. This is a very important message that Emmanuel is again reminding us. Maybe we have read this message already, maybe we know it, but it's good to revisit this often. Emmanuel's actually coming today and telling us that, and he's very straight with his words. He says in the beginning, where he quotes James, "You believe there is only one God. You do well. The demons also believe and tremble." And then he comes and he says that only just knowing is not good enough, because like he is explaining, the demons also know. And he is actually telling us here what is the difference between a demon and an angel. And he says here, demons are the symbol of weakness, satisfy They satisfy their own desires, which are often insane and dark. And then he says, angels identify with the design of the Eternal One and comply with them wherever they may be. And let's go back to this one. Here he's telling us James was divinely inspired by in this verse because his words define the difference between merely believing in God and in carrying out his sublime will. And this is where it comes to just believing, just gathering this knowledge, where living spring is totally coming in and is explained. It is to be the spring, to go out and let be the instrument, let this wonderful lessons of Spiritism come through us in, like he is saying here, doing this, like practicing the Spiritist teachings. And then he says here, therefore remember that when it comes to the issue of your personal happiness, your religious affliction will not be enough by itself. To just believe, to just educate yourself is not enough. Worshipping God and hoping and believing in Him are characteristics of all people. The only sign that can reveal your nobler condition will be the way you live your life as you fulfill His design. Because actually, simply believing in the good that comes from the Lord will not do much for your spiritual growth. It takes due diligence in practicing the good today, here, and now, in His name. It is practicing the good. What is the man asking of us today? He's asking of us to do more, to love more, to give more of ourselves to everybody else, wherever we go. Even if it's through lessons, Spiritist lessons, it can be in the smallest act of a prayer, to give more and be less selfish. There's another thing that I quickly want to truly share with you today that I have sorry, let me just see here quickly. This is the one. I just want to read this. It is from by Leon Denis in After Death, and it says, "And you are my friend," he says, "oh my brother, who receive these truths in your heart and who knows the whole price." And he's talking to us, Spiritus. Allow me one last call on your one last exhaustion. Remember, life is short. During its duration, strive to acquire what you have come to seek in this world. True perfection. May your spiritual being come out purer than it entered. Keep yourself from the trap of the flesh. Think that the earth is a battlefield where matter and senses deliver to the soul a perpetual assault. Fight with courage against vile passions. Fight by the mind and heart. Correct your flaws. Soften your character. Strengthen your will. May your thoughts be detached from earthly vulgarity and open from the escapes on the bright sky. Remember that everything material is fleeting. Generations pass like the sea flows. The empires collapse. The worlds themselves perish. The sun extinct. Everything leaks. Everything faints. But there are three things that come from God and are immutable like Him. Three things that shines above the mirror of human glory. It is wisdom, the virtue, love. Conquer them by your efforts, and by reaching them, you will raise above the passenger and transcend to enjoy the eternal. And this is again the book After Death by Leon Denis. I don't know the chapter. I'm so sorry, I don't know the chapter which this comes from. But again, we are truly reminded. We are reminded that to focus on doing, which means to, to, to in every circumstances of life, to change ourselves. And it begins with a thought. Like Emmanuel informed us, it is very good to educate ourselves, but it's in the doing, in the action, that our salvation lies, where the help lies, where we can be part of the apostles of Jesus. Because Jesus needs hands, and we know that earth is beginning to change. We can see it in everything that's going on. And we need to change as well. What are we part of? Are we part of the change, or are we holding back on wanting the same life, the old things, or are we part of this change, letting go of how things was and accepting everything that is new? And in this new is the good. It's where we focus on the good, regardless of what's going on in the world. And in this, praying for everything that we can pick up are not good and are not from God and are ignorant. Praying for that out of love, like Jesus has done always. His example is a beautiful example for us. So today, friends, let's focus on that. Let's focus ourselves on this change that we are asked to do in our lives and in ourselves. Because it's the focus on ourselves, it's a battlefield like Leon Denis is describing for us as well. It is the battle with ourselves and accepting and knowing the change. And we can ask ourselves today, are we part of this change? Or am I still holding back, wanting everything to go back to how it was before all these changes in this energy starting to happen? Let's ask ourselves. And then let's work on focusing on the good. And not just focus on it in our lives, but giving out, being more, giving more, give more love, more acceptance, more forgiveness. Because this is what we are asked today to do. Thank you so much. And please be, if you want to comment, please comment because we are together to learn together. And it is good to have a union when we do these chapters as well, so that we can actually give our input to one another, which is very good for us to do this together. Thank you so much, and God bless. And let's keep our thoughts on this message in the action and not only in knowing about God or knowing about His lessons, but in actually doing this lessons and talking about it. Let's go out and be like this living spring, giving out to everybody around us. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.